Installed Node, right? I think we all installed Node. And is anyone not installed Node? So if we go to a terminal, let's actually just type in and create a private key, and then let's fund that private key.
NPM install BitCore.
Yeah, so, all right, so if you haven't, okay, let's create, first off, if you haven't done that, let's...
Your thing a little bit bigger, do Command-Shift+.
Well, yeah, but I think I'm gonna, then we get very little. That'll need. All right, well, let's do that. There we go. All right, so let's create a directory where we'll put all of our files so we don't make a mess, because otherwise, you know, it's bad practice. So we could type in make directory, and we could go BCU, I don't know, test. In fact, I'm going to put it, I think, test two, because I think I already had one, so, but whatever you want. And then we're going to change directory into that, so, oops, BCU test 2. So I'm now currently in, you know, blockchain test 2 directory. So the whole point for this is just so that we can sandbox our development so we don't make a mess of things. Now, if we do that, though, we have to install the library, so we're going to switch to our super user, npm install BitCore. This is assuming, of course, you didn't do a global install. Now for this library, you probably should do a global install, and for that, you just have the flag -g. But let's say you didn't, because, you know, you could just want this one library in this folder just so that you don't make a mistake. So we do that, wants the password, so we gotta put in our password, which is, and take a sip of coffee, remove the key, and it should be working. This is how you know if it works. If it throws any errors, didn't throw any errors, we're now in it. So we can now run any software with BitCore in it. All right, so any problems so far?
How do I check if I have BitCore installed?
Oh, so the question is, how do you know if you have BitCore installed? We're going to see if if you don't see this here, then you didn't have BitCore installed.
No, I mean, I installed it yesterday, so I don't think I need to install it again. But
Oh,
I just
yes.
want to make sure that I do have.
Well, once we run it, if it throws an error,
Okay.
then you got to do the npm install.
Thank you.
So you should be able to do those 3 ones.
And I'm just going to switch a directory to the other one since I already had it somewhere else. It's just kind of lazy that way. Right. All right, there we go. Yeah, it's here. All right. So everyone okay? We're going, now yesterday everybody saw trying to create an address inside the command line. I think that it's better to write a file because then you can change it and modify it. In fact, you know, I saw, you know, I just like Emacs, Nano actually. I switched from Emacs to Nano, so, but there are better tools out there. You know, in fact, I even like just using straight up, if you're a Mac, text edit, something very blah. But let's use Nano because everyone has it. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a file called BitJS for JavaScript. So we're going to have nano BitJS. If you don't have this file already, I'll create one for you, but I already had one in here. So let's go through this step by step just to see what it looks like. So we're going to have this variable called BitCore, which is going to require the library we just installed, BitCore. We're going to see that that's going to be important later. We have at the end semicolon. You know, I think it's good practice to use single quotes instead of double quotes just to ensure that there's no problem with the operating system interpreting output incorrectly or whatnot. We're going to create a private key, so variable private key equals new BitCore, so we're calling upon this library, and inside this library called BitCore, we're going to use the function private key, and we're going to pass this function the following variable input. We want to use the testnet network. So again, we're creating this new variable called private key. It's going to be a new library BitCore private key function, and the variable here is just on the testnet. All right, excellent. Then we're going to create a new variable called exported. And we're going to take that private key that we just created, and we're going to pass it to this function called toWith wallet import format. And again, it's just going to tell it, hey, it's just on the testnet. And then we're going to output that to the console using console.log, exported. So we're going to take this variable, whatever it is, and just show it on the screen. And so we're going to have to hit Control-O to write it out. So once we hit Control-O, we're going to hit Enter just to write this one out. And it just wrote it, and we're going to hit Control-X to get out of here. And now we're out. Now, inside of that file is all that information. So let's take a look. Let's now run it. We'll type node and bit.js. And whew, it worked. So what happened?
We haven't shared that about how you can tell whether or not it's a testnet or
So right now, yes. So we don't know, hey, there are these different blockchains. We have a testnet blockchain, Bitcoin blockchain, a Litecoin blockchain. Oh, yes.
but the prefix.
So we got that. We have this. Let's go now. This is, if you will, oops, let's double click and save that. We'll hit Control Copy. We're going to save it on a new screen. This is, in effect, this is your private key. This is your, if you will, this is what you can use now to move value across. This is your secret, if you will, your passphrase. This is not a Bitcoin address quite yet. We need to now make that into a Bitcoin address. So to do that, we are going to use a great tool for development called Brain Wallet. So if we go to brainwallet.org, this is a wonderful tool. Do not, however, use it for anything but testing purposes. Do not think that you have figured out how to make an uncrackable password or whatnot. We're going to go in the upper right-hand corner. We can see that we have all these different blockchains that we could pick from. We're going to pick, of course, testnet. So let's pick testnet. So we now are in the testnet blockchain. We're then going to hit private key. We're then going to come down to where the private key is. We're going to paste our private key in here. It's then going to create a new address. Here's the address. We could double click on that, and let's go make sure it's an actual address. So we'll copy that, and we'll go to a block explorer like chain.so, for example. We're going to paste it in here, and we see it's, we're going to, hopefully it should be a testnet. There's an M, but let's take a look. Boom, boom, boom. Look at that. It's a valid testnet address. Lo and behold, it has nothing in it. But this now gives us, if you will, this address. We could copy this. Let's hit Command Copy. So Command Tab to go. Let's not overshoot it. Here's our, if you will, our address. Which I'll just save this. You don't need to save. You can always regenerate it, but we haven't. And what we now do is we could send value to this right here with another wallet, for example. And that's what we're going to do. Oops. If technology behaves itself, it should just crash. Wonderful. All right, we're going to send some coins from. Oops, too close.
He's actually sending himself.
You can also go to a faucet, but this is today. Yeah.
Well, we're going to go to a faucet too to get this, but let's say you have another wallet, so this is a separate wallet, if you will. This is a different place. We're going to send it some value. So I'm going to create that transaction. I'm going to hit send. It's going to be signing that transaction. It's now pushing out to the network, and it just got pushed onto the network. So now we have in here 100 millibits testnet coins. So we now have, if you will, a value associated with this address. To unlock that value, what do we need? We need that private key. So if we were to create a new transaction, in order to move that value to another place, we would need, of course, the private key. So we should have more than one of these. So let's go back to our command line and create more. Yes.
So the address is just a hash of the public key.
Yes.
Correct. And then the public key is a hash of the private key.
Well, it's a certain combination of hashes.
Okay. I put in. I created an address, or I created a private key
Yes.
terminal
Yeah.
and put it in the thing, and I got an address out of it, and then I got a valid Bitcoin.
Yes.
Is that?
Oh, you know what?
Does that happen?
Because, go back to that page. So this is a common problem. So right here, the Bitcoin here, click on that and go to the hash.
Can you show us again how you got into the test?
So yeah, let's go. I'm sorry, go into which one?
Just how you got into the test chain, like not the real one.
Oh, okay. What's great for chain or any blockchain explorer, when you issue an address, right?
Okay.
It knows automatically which blockchain with which to look at.
Okay.
So we don't have to do anything other than put that in, hit go, and it already knows it's the testnet.
Oh really?
Now, though, to generate the address initially, we had to use a brain wallet, and we had to go to not the Bitcoin network, but the testnet network, put in our private key, which has no leading digit to tell us what it is. It's just really just random private key that we've generated. So we have to tell it how to build that address, to put the M in this case.
Okay, so
We've got testnet.
testnet.
And then of course, what's the second largest blockchain besides Bitcoin?
Dogecoin,
Litecoin.
Litecoin.
Yes.
So you put the fast
Because it's the best one out there. And it's safe to Dogecoin. I was at the cup with Charles Lee, our savior. All right, so let's go create some more because it's not very interesting just to have one. So let's have multiples of this. So are there any questions, or do you want me to come around? Or?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah. So let's run it again. So a quick top tip.
Can we see the? Can I see that file again?
Yes.
I didn't finish writing it.
Oh.
Oh, you can copy it.
Oh, you have it? Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks. I'll just look at this.
So what we're going to do here is a top tip. If you want to redo a command in the terminal real quick, you can just do up arrow and cycle through them real quick, whichever one you want, up and down. So let's just run it again, create another one. Here we got another one. We'll hit copy. We'll save it here. We'll make, oop. We'll go back to Brain Wallet. We'll come here. We'll paste our new one in here. We'll create a new address. And this one should have how much money in it? Hopefully none, right?
Key collision.
We'll paste in here. And there we go, none. So what have we got? We've now got, in effect, we've got two addresses, and we've got in here, the value is 100 millibit. So I'll put that there, and then the value here is 0 millibit. So, I would like everyone to copy this onto a text edit, because what I'm thinking about doing is why don't we just come around and just add some testnet coins, or even just get testnet from a faucet. Sometimes the faucets don't work. If it's not working, then I can come around and give everyone some testnet coins with which to play with. So let's just go see if the faucet is working or not. So we're going to come over here, and we're going to grab this address we just made.
Can I see everything?
Again, we made that using Brain Wallet. So we used the private key that we create with Node.js, that library, BitCorE. We then made this from the Brain Wallet. We then copied this. We put it into chain.so, a block explorer, just to double check that there's nothing in it. Nothing in it. And now we got to go fill it with something. So we'll go to testnet faucet. There we go, tpfaucet.apps spot.com. This one, this is a pretty famous one. You can always go there.
It works. Also, we can.
And we're going to now fill our testnet with some, our testnet address with some Bitcoin. I'm going to come walk around, make sure everyone's doing okay. So let's do the faucet, see what we got. Let's have fun with that. Okay. And again, yeah, you know, don't hoard them. They're not worth anything. But we're going to put that in there. Look at that. 5, 5, 5, 5. We're going to send that. And if all's well, we should have it.
You got this TP faucet.
And look at that. So here we got our 0.85 Bitcoins. And again, we see that this is in effect, it's in effect pending. We've got to wait the 10 minutes before it's fully there. Now, when I told you on the testnet, you don't have to wait the 10 minutes. What I meant is, we could just try to move this right now and do an op return. But if you want to move it to another wallet, they're going to enforce that 10-minute rule. There's various ways to get around. It's kind of fun to play with this. But let's just wait the 10 minutes. Hence, let's have multiple addresses and fund them with a preset amount so that when you're playing with it, you're always moving the same amount. So I would go back to Node, let's say, get out of here, and just generate a bunch of these and just have half a dozen that you can play with. Maybe have 3 that are loaded, 3 that are empty, and just moving them back and forth. That's probably the best way. Now, you might be going, whoa, you're doing a lot of work here. You're copying it here, you're going over here,
You can do it all.
Pasting it in here. Doing a lot of work. All this we could do, again, we could all do this right now inside a node using BitCore. We could have it create, we could even have error trapping so that you could, make sure it's a valid address, make sure the public key is correct. You can then output everything nice and neat. But first step. It could go a long way. Also, if it doesn't work, chances are they've changed something with the API, the code. You gotta look at it. Every now and then. I was so shocked at even BitCore. I want to use it first back, I guess, January. And they were constantly changing what I needed, so I ended up not using it, but then they changed it to where it just is crazy. It's just changing so rapidly. It's like dog years, like 7 to 1. It's,
After all this, if I give you a private key, can you show how to sweep it?
Oh, yeah,
An
so-
actual Bitcoin private key.
yeah, so I
put
think
$1 into one.
we'll do that after lunch.
Okay.
So let's
Do you have a Bitcoin wallet?
let's just make another one. I mean, why not? We're here. We'll make an empty one. I think that's the one I made. See, yeah. Okay. Okay. So and then the value here is 0 bit. And then this one is what I think it was like 0. Wait, it's like 80. Which was in there? It's like 850 millibits or 0.85 bit Bitcoin. Okay. So all right. So we now have here at least three of them, and 2 are filled, 1 is empty, and we can now play with it. And we are. Let's go over here to this one. This is the very first one. It's been 10 minutes, so it should not be pending. Well, it is pending. Anyways, let's take a look at the raw data. So inside the block explorer, we needed that transaction ID, the hash, if you will. We're going to use this to spend it. We're going to get our transaction. We're going to use this information to create a transaction and load it. So we'll come back to that after lunch. So let's look at some tools real quick that we use. So Brain Wallet, I think, is very important. Just for testing, do not put any value on it.
So, I mean, you can just do bitcore.address, the public key, and testnet, and it'll give you, you can do this all in the BitJS.
Yeah. But you can go down to 7-Eleven and buy a pack of cigarettes, or you can roll it. I mean, we'll see them both ways. Maybe this is all. Yeah, this is all for. Yeah, we'll do it both ways. But let's take a look. Let's do 5 more minutes, and then we'll take a break for lunch. But talking about paper wallets, how do you create a paper wallet? Realistically, if you do this to create addresses with the idea or the intent of making a paper wallet on your computer, this would be considered bad practice. Yes?
So when you create these addresses, you want to verify that the addresses have lines, randomness. So that is.
So the question is, you want to validate that address works before you send money to it. And you can do that all offline. You can take your private key, create an address, take that address, make sure it conforms and goes to where you think it'll go to. You should never, though, have a private key on a computer that's touched the internet. So all those private keys that we made, of course, here, there could have been malware that was, grabbing these right off as they came off onto standard output. So you should never do this in a real sense. So how does one make a wallet or a paper wallet or long-term storage that's safe? And so let's take a look at how people think about this and how we do this today. So one idea, this is a great little toy, this idea of entropy, just a little device. There we go. It's hard to see here, but that's not too big. Oh my goodness. There we go. So they have these devices that the idea is that the entire computer is on a chip. You put it into your printer, you press a button on the chip, and it creates a paper wallet with the idea that this has never been on the internet. So now, again, you have the idea of a Bitcoin address. You have your private key here. This is one way to ensure, and we could take a look.
By the way, I looked into it. It's actually never even puts those values in the PDF. It's actually the shapes of all those letters.
That's very true, because so what Chris is saying, hey, this isn't even letters. This is just pictures. So some question as to whether or not an OCR could probably read that or not. Maybe not, but yeah. So that's one way to have fun with this.
So when they say private key in this context, is it the private width or the private key?
So that's a private width. Yeah. So this is so then you could use this to import into your wallet and put it directly in.
Yeah.
Wallet import format.
So here you could also do, again, here's multi-sig. So this is a 2 of 3 model. So you could have it generate multi-sig. So the idea being that the address here, if you take a look, it's hard to see. Let's make it bigger.
So here's my.
So the address is identical, but the private keys are different. So the private keys have been split up into 3 sets, 2 of which will unlock this address and get you your funds to move around. So again, you can send value to this address here. They're all the same, but you need to import these 2 out of 3 in order to move that unspent transaction output. That's one other way to do it. So this is one way to do it. I mean, there are a lot of hardware wallets. These are software wallets. There's the Ledger, the Trezor, HW1. What other ones are there? There's a bunch of them. You should just never have your private keys on a computer that's touched the internet. And if you don't own your private keys, everybody in this space will tell you you don't own nothing. So if you have your value on Coinbase, which is a great service, I use it, get it off immediately. You don't own them.
We don't control them. Well, it's like you own them, but they also own them.
Well, they mostly own them. So they can always say,
you control them, you can send them, but they can also send
oh yeah, so once you get them, send them immediately to some place that you completely control.
Yeah.
Because yeah, all it would take is, I don't like you, and they close your
Or they get
account.
hacked or something.
Which has happened.
But they have insurance.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you have
they're-
insurance
they're-
now.
I'm not even worried about the hacking. In fact, most people would say Bitcoins are not lost due to nefarious hackers. It's lost because you lose that. You forget your
Aren't you more likely to lose it if you have it yourself than
Yeah,
Coinbase?
they insure
If you're not worried
100%
about
all the
hacking, then
accounts now.
Coinbase is better.
That's a very good question. A lot of people like banks because they take all the roles of the responsibilities and all that, and you, the consumer, you don't have to do anything other than show up.
Mt. Gox wasn't insured, but you know,
And-
they
and-
were.
Yeah, they started paying back, by the way.
Yeah.
Well,
They started
well,
Yeah.
hold on now.
Not-
Let's
not everyone's
roll
gonna
that
get
back
their-
a little
Not
bit.
everyone's gonna get their money.
Kraken bought out, and yeah, I don't know about that. Let's.
Well, bowed out with crack, I don't know.
Yeah.
You'll get like half or a third or something.
So banks
500
fulfill a roll-up.
per Bitcoin.
You don't have to take any responsibility for your actions. You could do something dumb, and they could always roll it back and fix it. However, they could always deny you a service. So if you're doing some activity that they frown upon, they could just arbitrarily, shut you down. Whereas if you control the funds, nobody can shut you down. So that's the main point. So I'm of the opinion you should control your private keys yourself. So, I mean, I don't know. Anybody want to look at another?
But also scary.
But yeah, then the scary thing is you could lose,
Yeah.
and you should always have on any of these wallets, particularly these are hot wallets, things that you just play with and you could lose. It's no big deal. The paper wallet, I think, is longer term storage. These are always fun.
What's cool about like the wallet on your phone is you can have it backed up. So
Oh,
if you
yeah,
lose
but-
your phone, you could still like go back and get the cash out.
Yes, but
Yeah.
what I'm saying is that these are pretty not so secure.
Right.
So it could just screw up, and I could have typed in the. In fact, I'm using a terrible wallet on my phone. It's just I use it because it's so convenient, but it uses the same private key constantly. It's or the same public address, I should say, public key. It's really a bad one, but it's so convenient. So even I know, but yeah, just play with what you're willing to lose on these hot wallets. The paper wallet idea is longer term storage.
Yeah.
So, well, how about we take lunch and we can come back and then actually move stuff around.